Hey everyone, Bill Davies from Ellipse Solutions coming to you from my backyard here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. This is my third or fourth try at this because every time I've tried so far, there's been a garbage truck rolled by or a plane flew over or some other kind of thing happened. So hopefully this time it'll work. I just wanted to do a quick 25-minute infomercial to give you a little heads up on some of the licensing changes that are happening with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance. So if you haven't heard already, licensing for Dynamics 365 is changing. We're going to walk through what's changing, why it matters, and what you can do to prepare. So let's start with some quick background. Historically, licenses for Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain, formerly known as F&O, were loosely managed, to say the least. Unlike Office or SharePoint or other Microsoft licenses weren't actually assigned to individual users. So as long as the organization met the minimum license count, users could access D365 without being formally assigned a license. That led to a few problems. New users were added without being counted. Former employees who had left the organization were never removed. And because there was no enforcement, many organizations didn't bother to align user roles with the right license type. So team members and activity licenses were often overstated or unused. Optimizing for cost or compliance just wasn't a priority for a lot of organizations. So that's all changing. On March 28th, Microsoft announced that moving forward, licenses must be explicitly assigned to users via the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, just like other Microsoft apps. They're rolling this out in two phases. Phase 1 starts September 1st. Users without a license will begin seeing in-product warnings, basically letting them know that they need to talk to their admin and have a license assigned to them. And then starting on November 1st, those users will be blocked from accessing the system entirely. So this is a monumental change and could definitely impact operations. So it's not just about assigning the licenses anymore. Enforcement will be based on what Microsoft is calling entry points. In other words, what users actually do in the system, not just the roles that they're assigned. And that makes things more complicated. You can't just look at a user's role name, and you need to understand exactly how they're using the system. So how do you figure out what licenses you need? Well, that's been a long-standing challenge. There's been tools like the User License Estimator, LCS role reports, and other outputs that help give you information, but unfortunately, those reports have given inaccurate and different answers, and it's something that Microsoft is actually aware of. It's confusing, it's time-consuming, and it's inconsistent. And the system, the Dynamics 365 system itself, doesn't make things easy. There's over 130 standard security roles built from more than 1,800 duties with more than 4,600 privileges. And those privileges are the entry points that I mentioned previously. Most organizations add some custom roles on top of that. So getting roles and licenses right is complex. And that's especially true during implementation. Going through those 4,600 entry points plus any customizations in the system can be extremely time consuming, to say the least. So what do we recommend that customers do now? First of all, upgrade to version 10.0.44. So it includes some new reporting that should help clarify licensing needs. We're not sure how accurate those reports will be, but it certainly will be an improvement from where we stand today. Review who's actually using the system. This is literally make a list. Have the person's name, their role, and some basic descriptions of what their job duties are to really kind of hone in on exactly who your user population are, and what alignment that they have to the system, whether there's groups of individuals that you can put into groups together, etc. And then we recommend that you start assigning licenses in the Microsoft Admin Center. You want to get ahead of this November 1st deadline and get those licenses assigned as early as possible to let you understand better what your overall inventory of licenses is and whether or not you have sufficient licenses for what your needs are. We also recommend that you communicate with your users. Let them know what to expect and reassure them that IT is on top of it And if they see any warning notices that it's just something that Microsoft has put out there to let everybody know what's happening, but you all are fully on top of what's happening, and they don't need to worry. At this juncture, I think it's really important to not be careful to not over license. You don't want to default everyone to a full finance or supply chain license. You want to look for users who qualify for activity or team member licenses, and revisit your business processes and role assignments to stay compliant and control costs. We also strongly recommend a license assessment. It's something that you could potentially do yourself. It involves going back and forth between the user's needs to access the system and how that aligns to the user guide and the privileges that are available through the various different license types. It is an iterative process. It can take some time. It does require some role alignment and cleanup, but it can provide some opportunities for cost savings going forward. If you need some help with that, Ellipse Solutions is a great option. We have been licensing Microsoft products for many years now, and as part of our responsibilities in licensing those products, we've been obligated every 6 months to do an assessment with each of our customers to ensure that they have the right licenses in place. So we have a long-standing history with this. We've got consultants on our team who are expert in going through this process and guiding customers through getting a full understanding of what the actual licensing requirements are and whether you have the right licenses in place or not. Again, my name is Bill Davies. I'm one of the business development people here at Ellipse Solutions. My counterpart is Rick Wood. Feel free to reach out to either one of us, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you might have and talk to you about this licensing assessment that we could potentially use to help you all better understand what you need in order to be in compliance, and more importantly, and most importantly, to provide the most optimal, cost-effective licensing for Dynamics 365 going forward. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you have a great afternoon.